Chris Frates, Democratic strategist and MSNBC contributor Jimmy Williams, and Republican strategist and MSNBC contributor Susan Del Percio. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us.
Morning, Alex.
Susan, I'm going to begin with you here. We have Republicans. Are they actually hoping to go over the fiscal cliff? Because if they do, then technically any vote on taxes would be to cut them.
There may be a few out there, but it's just not the responsible thing to do. And I do believe that John Boehner never had the intention of going off the cliff. He needs to get this done. He may have to do it without getting a majority of the majority, so he may have to take this for the floor and get it passed with Democratic support. But it really needs to get done because the Republicans need to put this behind them. Plus, they'll have another bite at the apple when it comes again to the cap on our debt. So he has a little time to play, but he really has to get something done.
So, Jimmy, the president implored his colleagues in both parties in Congress to just act together, give it a little time here, and get a solution. But politically speaking, has the damage already been done for both parties?
Well, I don't think, listen, Congress's approval rating actually went up to 18% last week, which was astonishing. I'm not sure what 5% of Americans actually thought they were doing something better than they were doing before that. Listen, I think that most Americans think that Congress is just ineffectual, is filled with partisans on both sides, and is deadlocked and gridlocked, and that the elections didn't teach them anything. And so I don't think that most Americans give the Congress much credit. The problem with that is that at the end of the day, if we do, quote, go off the cliff, if sequestration happens, the markets will react, and then they probably won't react positively. So both parties are going to suffer on this one, but I got to tell you, somebody that's looking pretty right now is Barack Obama. I mean, he's looking really good, in my opinion, and frankly, a lot of others as well.
But, Jimmy, he doesn't want to go and have this fiscal cliff happen, have a recession, and start his legacy this way. He's got some things he wants to do. He doesn't want this around for 6 months either.
I agree that he doesn't want that, but let's also remember, Susan, you and I know each other and love each other. I like history. History tells me that these are the same Republicans that voted for sequestration, and that if they thought it was good in August of 2011 and the president signed the bill into law, then why in the hell shouldn't we just go ahead and let it happen? I agree with you. It's probably not a good thing. The markets will react negatively, and it could dip us back down into a very temporary and slight recession. I don't want to see that, but they did vote for this.
Well, you know what, you guys, speaking of temporary, Chris, is there a path out of this mess, or is there going to be a quick fix? You kick the can down the road, 6 months, a year from now, we come right back to where we are today?
Well, Alex, I think there is a path forward, and I argued this Thursday night in National Journal, and I said, here's why I think we can get this done. Boehner was able to demonstrate how difficult it is for him to get votes for a tax rate increase. He wasn't able to put that bill on the floor because he didn't have enough votes to pass that with just the Republicans. But now he has a really good sense of how many people in his caucus would be able to vote for a tax increase. They whipped that vote, they counted that vote closely, and he can go back to the president and say, look, this is what I can get. The president was at $400,000. The speaker's at $1 million. Those are the folks we're talking about increasing taxes on. There's somewhere in between there where the speaker would be able to bring something forward, maybe 500, 650, somewhere in between, if the president were able to go up and the speaker came down off $1 million, where they could find some agreement. And so I think there is a path forward here. Remember, they're only $200 billion apart on the revenues and on the spending cuts of a multi-trillion-dollar bill. So I think this was certainly not a great moment for the speaker, but I don't think this is game over. And Trent Lott always used to argue that nothing got done in Washington until everybody went home. I look for the speaker and the president to continue talks while this Christmas holiday is happening.
You know what sticks in my mind? The fact you said, yeah, they're only about $200 billion apart, and I'm like, yeah, drop in the bucket. Anyway, let's just switch gears here now, everyone. Susan, let's take a listen to part of the NRA's news conference, the speech yesterday. Here's that, everyone.
I call on Congress today to act immediately to appropriate whatever is necessary to put armed police officers in every single school in this nation, and to do it now.
Yeah, it's an impractical thing. I mean, the suggestion to put armed police officers in every school in America, but even beyond that, I mean, that's not what America's about, is it?
Well, it's not only is it impractical, it's offensive that they took a week and this is what they came out with, frankly.
Yeah, no mention of assault weapons. No, not a one.
And you know, from two perspectives. One, practically, if you're going to take a week, you better come out with something big and bold and newsworthy, not this. And secondly, they need to take a hard look at their membership. A lot of polling last year showed that members of the NRA, yes, they're all pro-Second Amendment. I'm pro-Second Amendment, but they're not pro-assault weapons. They're not the clips that hold 50 rounds in a second.
And they believe in background checks and all sorts of things.
They join the NRA because you get deals on your ammo, or there's other opportunities that you could get, discounts for other things. But people are not on the side of assault weapons, nor should they be. And really, they should have come to the table, because when he talks about armed guards, for example, then fine. Anyone who has, they think that they should get an assault weapon, make them go through all the tests, psychological tests, background checks, fingerprinting. There's a lot to be done there, and they offered nothing.
Jimmy, the vice president is leading this new task force to develop some ideas to reduce gun violence by no later than next month. The president is calling on the new Congress to hold some votes in January, right after they return, on banning the sale of military-style assault weapons and all those high-capacity ammunition clips, along with some laws requiring background checks before all the guns, any guns, are purchased. But listen to one Republican congressman from Kansas who appeared on Morning Joe on Friday.
What has bothered me the most as a representative is how this has been politicized so quickly, that somehow if we had changed one single law, which as I understand that the state of Connecticut had laws against these kind of things, and somehow that would have changed things. But what I agree on, I think everybody can agree on, we've got a cultural problem.
But is it time to look at assault weapons?
Will that solve the problem? I don't believe so.
So it's
not a gun problem, it's a people problem. It's a cultural problem. Joe, how many children do you have?
I've got 4 children, Tim. Answer my question.
So do I. And I refuse to let you say that because you have children or anybody else, that we need to actually politicize this.
So put this ideology together. I mean, does the president really have a chance at passing these reforms, Jimmy?
No. I hope, I want, I don't think that anybody is going to actually, except for Tim Holzkamp, come on TV and say something like that. This is a problem, and the reason it is because we do have divided government. The Speaker of the House is a Republican. The House majority is a Republican majority. Here's the problem. You can get it, you might be able to get it through the Senate. And the president can send up whatever legislation he wants to. But the question becomes is, can John Boehner, listen, if John Boehner can't get a tax increase on millionaires, how in the hell is he going to get a ban on assault weapons through the House of Representatives?
Yeah.
You just heard a congressman from Kansas, the great state of Kansas, the home of Bob Dole, who said, no way. They're a lot like him. I doubt they'll get it through the House.
All right. Chris Frates, you're going to be up next when it comes to the Big Three's best and worst of the week after a break.
Think coarse facial hair removal has to be painful? Challenge that with new